Well, first of all, congratulations. I love Oscar Wilde, and The Canterville Ghost is one of my favorite short stories that he's ever done. And it has been done so many times.
It does.
But you have put together just a wonderful, and it's really, really close to what he wrote. I mean, it's just, um, with
Yeah.
a lot of fun in it. What a great holiday treat.
Thank you. I mean, oh, thank you. Oscar Wilde's The Canterville Ghost. It's one of my favorite stories too because it's a haunted house and it's a ghost. Of course, I'm personally I'm predisposed towards that stuff. You can tell by my office, it's
Mm.
full of things like that. But what I loved about the story is the humor. One of the great things Oscar did was he never ridiculed the American family that bought the house that came in. He never really ridiculed the British aristocracy. Of course, there's satire and he mocks them, but he never laughs too hard at the characters' expense. You can tell he loves his characters, and that's something he's just delightful to read. But we also knew that it is a short story. It's in terms of movie structure and the old, the three-act structure
Mm.
doesn't quite deliver on the third act in terms of what a movie needs. In other words, when Virginia and Sir Simon go to the Garden of Death, as Oscar calls it, which is probably a cemetery, to confront a personification of death so that the curse can be lifted, so that the curse can be lifted. We never get to read what happens. Oscar doesn't tell us, and he's quite the tease. But we felt that we wanted to show people, and that was really the starting point for the film. So, okay, what happened there? What went on in that garden? How can we explore that? And then, of course, Tony, by the time you're doing that, you're recognizing that there are themes of sacrifice, of love, of making uh, of of making things worthwhile while you're alive, of time passing, all those sort of great themes. And we were able to put that into the film. And what was really heartening to me was that children were responding to those themes as much as they were responding to the twins, who are their surrogates in the film, frightening Sir Simon out of his wits. But children were picking up on those rather, adult themes, which I'm actually very proud about.
I have always thought it's a wonderful children's story about finding out who you really are, even after death, is
That's right.
is facing your fear and coming through shiningly.
Yeah. No, it's full of depth, and that's why there will be other versions of the Canterville Ghost. I've no doubt. And all we could bring to it were the things we felt were important. Stephen Fry is obviously a big part of the film. He's not only the voice of Sir Simon, but he was very heavily involved in the production. It's a co-production between my company and Stephen's company through Gina Carter, his business partner and producer. And yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned the word fun because it's easy to forget that it is an animated film. We are aiming at families. We know we've got these big grand themes, but that can be daunting if you don't bring the fun as well, and the sort of absurdity of Simon's predicament, and Virginia just finding this whole place awful, and it's so beautiful, but she's a teenage girl. She's not going to be impressed by this rolling countryside. She just wants to be back home with her friends in Boston. So we as we developed the screenplay, I could see I wanted to make sure it adhered. I'm a bit of a classicist when it comes to structure. I wanted it to adhere to that three-act structure, while staying true to what Oscar had written.
And your cast is unbelievable. I mean, you mentioned Stephen Fry, but you got Toby Jones, Hugh Laurie, who's one of my friends. Emilda Staunton is in it. I mean, what great Freddie Highmore. What great voices.
Thank you. Yes, the voice cast on Canterville is exceptional, even if I say so myself. Stephen A lot of people love Stephen. A lot of actors love Stephen. And so once Stephen became involved and became a partner in the film, it wasn't too difficult to get the approaches into the cast. Of course, they're only going to respond if they feel the screenplay is worthwhile. And they did. You know, I always make sure every character has a distinctive voice and has a journey of some sorts. Even if it's a short or a small journey, there needs to be a journey or a moment. There's a great moment where Mrs. Otis, for example, pulls those cables out of Algernon's ghost hunting machine, which might save her daughter's life. And you know, she steps up and says enough, and it's a great moment. It's really quite powerful because up until then, Mrs. Otis had been sort of happy to go along with what her husband wanted and to not get into too much of an argument with her teenage daughter. But that's the moment at which she steps up, and we try to do that for all the characters. And actors respond. They know when they read screenplays if they can find a voice within it. Emily Carey and Freddie Highmore as the two lovers, I think, were brilliant. Emily bringing that sort of steeliness and modernity, but also a quality of vulnerability, which I think is really important. Imelda Staunton, so funny. I have to say, she managed to make relatively short appearances and small lines make them so funny.
Yeah.
And you just see how good she is when she can do that, and the way she pronounces a name. She doesn't laugh at the name, but she brings her class prejudice to the way she says it because she's the housekeeper. It's quite brilliant. If you'd said that to Imelda, she'd get embarrassed. But as someone who's, you know, was there at that point directing her voice, I got quite excited about that.
In our final moments we have, and again, thank you so much for your time, Robert.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. What do you think families who are going to flip this on are going to take away from watching the Canterville Ghost?
Well, I mean, I believe in children. I believe that children like to be frightened, entertained. They do feel the sort of themes that the adults almost take for granted. They do feel them. We had a 10-year-old boy saying, when someone asked him what he got from an advanced screening, he just said that you shouldn't waste time and that you should make the most of life while you have it. This is a 10-year-old boy. And I almost burst into tears because I thought, oh my God, yes, you understood. He didn't say, you know, the way the twins scare Sir Simon. He said that. And I was really impressed with him. Of course, we've had other children who just love the way the twins play American football with Sir Simon's head, and that's good, you know, that's good enough for them. But this one boy really picking up on that theme meant the world to me.
It's just so much, as I said before, and you said, this is so much fun to watch. You could watch
Yeah.
it over and over again, and it's brilliantly animated. The colors are
Yeah.
beautiful. It reminds me of like a throwback to those great '60s animated features.
That's lovely to hear. Thank you. Yeah, we chose our palette wisely. We tried to make it distinctive in how it looked. We wanted the beauty of Canterville. I once pitched this to an American financier as Downton Abbey gets haunted, and they got it. They understood that, yes, we love Downton Abbey, not just because of the drama, but also because of that the countryside and that big house and that sort of ideal place to live. And so we wanted to do all that, and then of course to throw a ghost in there and to haunt it.
Again, thank you so much for your time. If you ever do this as a live theatrical performance, use this cast because they're just brilliant.
No, there is a plan for a stage version, so thank you for saying that. Yes,
Thank you and have a great day.
thanks, Tony. Cheers.
Bye bye.